Okay, you see the recording button? Alright, well, I got them, they're working on it a little bit, so we'll just, I think for the purposes of the call for the recording, that just, know that we are kind of dealing with a little bit of audio issue. And so for anybody who's listening, just know that there's an audio echo problem that we're dealing with, but we'll do the best we can with the call. So, talking to Jon, and the topic is awakening. And a question that I get asked often, and I know what it means to me, but I would like to know what it means to you. Is what is awakening? What is awakening to you, and is it possible maybe to describe a specific experience, if you have one that you want to describe, that could give an example of an awakening experience that you may have had? And I know that's big. That's a big topic, but that's what we're talking about. So,
I've struggled with this. I've gone through so many different concepts of what it means, and at first I was all thinking it's me, an individual waking up, but then I thought, is it something bigger than me? It changes, it seems to change all the time. I think, is it just ignorance being discarded and you become more aware as you lose concepts and ideas and they get stripped away and you start to see more? But I mean, one awakening experience I had years ago, and it might sound really small and silly, but one day I'd finished work, I was working all night, and I used to go and sit on the park on my way home, when the sun was coming up. And this one day I looked at the grass and I thought, wow, the grass is green. And it was like, I saw the greenness of it, like the real green, the colour and everything, and I thought, like, I've never seen that before. I've looked at it and I've had this mental voice saying, oh, it's green, I know it's green, I've seen it a million times. And this one day I saw like the greenness of it and the sunlight on the grass, and I thought, wow, it's like I'm seeing this for the first time, really seeing it, just wow, like this is, things like that. It felt like a big something in me is awake enough to see that and register it.
yeah. Do you feel like it was something that those types of experiences are out of your control? Do you feel like they're coming from somewhere else, or is that kind of the big?
Yeah, I think all the experiences in my life that seem the more real ones, they seem to come without the ones that I haven't contrived, if you know what I mean. When I think it'd be quite easy for anybody to sit down and think themselves into some kind of state, close your eyes and imagine a white light or something and go off on that. But I think the real times in my life, it's like something hits you like a lightning bolt and you whoa. And that's when I think it feels like it's something real. You haven't invited it and it's just suddenly there and it feels real. It's like, it's not something I've tried to get, it's just hit me.
Right.
And here it is.
Right. Here, let me, I need to check on the support while we're doing this recording here. 1 second here.
Okay.
So for the listeners there, we're working with a new software application for recording, and there's some audio echo that we're dealing with, and I'm working with their support while we're doing the call. So got lots of things going on. So one of the things that comes up a lot is the question that I get: is there a difference between an awakening and is there a difference between enlightenment? And have you ever come across the term enlightenment? And have you ever felt like you've made some discoveries with enlightenment? Or I mean, what does enlightenment mean to you? Can you kind of visit the same idea with the term enlightenment as you did with awakening, as far as what it may mean to you, and if it?
I don't know. Years ago, I thought enlightenment would. I just imagine like a man or a woman who's totally clear, totally seeing everything as it is, and doesn't sort of have any problems, and is totally free of all the things that bind the rest of us, you know. And then I think as it's gone on for me, it's like I don't know. It's hard to say. I know, like awakening, it feels like there's a gradual process where things fall away and I see things more clearly and let go of things that I felt were obscuring my view of different things. But enlightenment, it just seems a bit more hard to get at. I mean, if somebody asks me, do I feel like I'm done and I've got nothing more to learn and I'm just in this state of no problems forever, I wouldn't say I'm at that place.
Right.
I still have this feeling that it comes sometimes, oh, maybe there's more to learn, or I don't know enough or something.
Right. Right, yeah, that comes up a lot, I think. I read lots of arguing as to what awakening is, and as to what enlightenment is, and I see people constantly battling, trying to define what those two are, and so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Is you know, when people do hear these recordings, that they kind of maybe have an idea of what awakening is, what enlightenment is, what the topic is about, what those topics are about. They're big topics.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I think one of the things I've been thinking about lately, though, is just individuality, because I think if you see yourself as just like an individual and you're limited, you know, I think no matter how, even if you sharpen your senses to the maximum, like your hearing is amazing, your vision, everything, as an individual it's still all quite limited. It's that every individual, if we are individuals, would have a limit as how much we can perceive, and it feels like it's got to be something much more than an individual, because, you know, even if I totally take everything in my life to the maximum, I'm perceiving everything so clearly, I'm still limited by this body and its senses. There must be so much more out there that my eyes just can't see, if that makes sense.
Right.
I mean, it's like this feeling, is it an individual who's awakened, or is it like the disappearing of the individual, waking up into something bigger?
Oh, that's a great point. Do you feel that your self-identity, everything that you know as yourself, has been challenged in awakening? Like all of your beliefs from childhood throughout life have been challenged.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so difficult. But recently I've got this little image thing in my mind that I had, and it's off. You know, when you see like a completed jigsaw puzzle, it could have, say, 1,000 pieces, and I got this picture of like one of these little jigsaw pieces suddenly becoming self-conscious enough to step out of the picture and start walking around, and it says, hey, I'm an individual, I'm not part of that picture, I can walk around and do all this stuff. But every time this piece looks back at the picture, it feels like there's something missing in that picture. There's a hole, I wonder where that missing piece is. And then one day that piece falls back into the picture and goes, oh, everything's good. But it's because it's like, it's part of the big picture again, and it's not. I think there's like, we all, in this Western world, everybody says, hey, I'm an individual, and it's something to be so proud of, but you're limited by being an individual. I think it's like there's a big picture, a whole. Well, I think you've said before about there not being any separate moments, or it's. I think that's what it's getting at when you realise sort of what you are, and it's not just this little jigsaw piece. It's part of this big picture. So.
Yeah. Now that's I think that's a great summation. I'm probably going to use that, by the way. So that's a good. I like that. I like the use of the jigsaw puzzle. One of the things I dealt with specifically, not specifically, but there were lots of things I dealt with. But one of them was addictions, patterns of addictions. And in lots of the folks that I've talked to in Awakening, it seems that addictions seem to have been challenged, maybe have fallen away, and maybe a pattern could have been some type of anxiety or self-worry or self-doubt. Is there any pattern in your life that fell away where you knew that there was a power at play that was in charge, and that helped maybe make this pattern fall away, if that makes any sense?
I think it's just in general. I mean, in the past, I think I didn't realise when I felt a little bit on edge, I would probably eat more, just eating to fill. I did notice this when I was around 17 years old. I think it was the gap between being like a child and an adult. I just felt like there was a huge black hole right in the centre of myself, like this big, like something was missing, and I didn't know who I am, and it scared me, this feeling of this like hole, so I tried drinking, eating, buying things to fill that sense of something being missing. And I realised pretty quickly that you're never going to fill this hole. And just when I realised that, I thought maybe this hole, this emptiness, is the thing I'm looking for. Maybe it is the other side of me. There's the formed side, the body, and this is the spatial side, the emptiness, and even God. I don't know that word, but that's the unseen side of things that you can't fill. It's a space, or maybe, but the fear of it sort of fell away. The need to fill it with buying things and eating, and I think more recently, I used to be always watching other people's lives, people I knew personally on TV, and being so concerned with what everybody else was doing. That seems to have fallen away quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
Where I just think that's what they're doing, and it's not my life. So.
Right. So here's the question, and we're coming up on the data limit. So when I hit the data limit, I go in for the final question, and this is a big one. What is something or one thing that you know for certain, that you know without certainty, that you can make a statement as such?
What do I know for certain? It's really difficult, isn't it, to it's weird, because even to say like I know it, so I'm already saying the word I just the only thing I could say is that I'm here. I don't know where here is. I mean, there's some intelligence here taking all this in, and maybe it's even not that I'm accessing this intelligence. Maybe I'm just it, and I just know that I am.
Right.
I don't know anything. I mean, all the other things, it's opinions, isn't it? And my view, and what I know for certain is that something's experiencing this, I think. It's just hard to get at, isn't it? And put into words.
Right. Well,
I think they should ask everybody that.
Yeah, it's a good question, and it is hard to put into words. It's the constant battle is the use of vocabulary and the attempt to describe the indescribable, and that's a reoccurring theme that continues to happen.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's it, Jon. I thank you for coming on, and if there's anything that you would recommend to any listeners, would you make any recommendations that are maybe on the awakening path and seeking relevance, if you will?
I'd just say I think I've tried to sort of, if I have any control of it, sometimes I've read things, I've watched videos and looked at what other people are saying, but I think sometimes I've had to almost take a detox from that, and just, I think you can sort of overload yourself. I used to read book after book and video till I just couldn't take any more in, and I think sometimes just I'd give all my books away or something and just spend months almost on like a diet from it all, and just let whatever comes come, instead of looking for too much stuff. Just being out in nature sometimes, you learn things about yourself maybe that you could have learned from a book. Excellent.
All right, well, thanks for coming on, Jon.
Thank you. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
All right, take care. Thank you.
Thank you.